Let's play a piece of tape that is the president. I think it's going to be aired on The View, maybe even tomorrow, but ABC has released it. Let's see if we can get that on air for a moment.
JPMorgan is one of the best managed banks there is. Jamie Dimon, the head of it, is one of the smartest backers we got. And they still lost $2 billion in counting, precisely because they were making bets in these derivative markets. But this is why we passed Wall Street reform.
Okay, now let me give you an alternative statement the president could have made. JPMorgan, led by Jamie Dimon, led all the banks trying to eviscerate, destroy, and create the very loopholes that let them then risk $2 billion of your money, and that's why I'm telling Eric Holder, if he doesn't indict somebody by next week, he's fired.
You're exactly right.
Why didn't we hear anything like that ever from this administration?
Well, because he can't say it, because when they were doing the Dodd-Frank bill in Congress, they didn't push for a vocal rule that had specifics written into it telling you what you could and couldn't do. It didn't say what proprietary trading was.
But they could have done that.
They could. I'm saying they could have done that, but they left it to the rule writers, and the rule writers, as Dennis well knows, are subject to lobbying, at every moment, and it's under the cloak of darkness. Nobody knows what actually goes on there, and so there was not a bright line written into the rules saying you cannot take these giant bets and
Dennis is about to jump out of his chair here.
Well, that's true to some extent. A lot was left to the regulators, but there's a lot that's very clear. And one thing that's very clear is the vocal rule, and it says no proprietary trading. Right. But getting back to your point is, Jamie Dimon is either incompetent or culpable here, and somebody better look at it, and it needs to be somebody independent because he's too well connected. But keep in mind, Elliot, on April 13th, when he said there was no problem here, to May 10th, when he said there's a $2 billion problem here, 850 million shares of JPMorgan stock traded in that month. And you know what that means better than anybody. There's a real question of violation of securities laws, among a whole slew of other things. Eric Holder's not going to investigate JPMorgan and Jamie Dimon the way it should be done. We need an independent counsel to look into what happened here.
Dan, let me come back to you. You are my brilliant economic voice all the time, but I'm asking kind of a political question now. Will there be an enormous problem for the administration if they don't investigate this? Because as Dennis just said, there are certainly 1,000 theories of securities laws violations, that their lawyers are going to be like sharks, with blood in the water. Does Eric Holder have to say, we got a serious problem here, and make somebody look at it?
I don't know. I think this is complicated because, Jamie Dimon was Obama's go-to banker. And a lot of the narratives about what went on in 08 and 09, there are moments where Obama says, you know what, I'm going to call Jamie. Remember, he was at Bank One out in Chicago, where Obama came from. He was one of his earlier supporters. He's a known Democrat. And, you see him still kind of love-bombing him. Bankers have very thin skin. And there's something else going on here, which I believe President Obama today or yesterday was at a fundraiser at the apartment of someone from the Blackstone Group. So for all this famous falling out of Wall Street and Obama and the broken promises and this and that, this is still a very important source of campaign cash, and he's right in the thick of it.